Welcome to the Dental and Mental Podcast. I'm Dr. Galen Dietrich.
I'm Dr. Davina Dietrich.
And we are going to be talking to you about the business and the mindset of dentistry.
Hi, welcome back, guys.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Dental and Mental Podcast, Part 6.
Part 6 of the next series.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so for Part 6, we're talking about sustainability, but I don't actually think that that's the right word.
It's a great principle, but it might not be the right word.
Right. So
What would you throw in there?
So as we were talking about this, preparing for this, we were like, well, you know, sustainability just isn't. It's not the vibe. It's just not.
Is this what we associate with sustainability?
Right. But from the way that I think we look at it from a Thrive perspective, sustainability is really the permission to be extra.
No, I think you just said the word. The word is thrive.
Yeah.
That's the word. Because for something to thrive, there has to be an abundance of resources to support that, which is sustainability. But thriving is not surviving. And thriving isn't striving.
Right.
Thriving is thriving. That's right. I just defined it with its own self. Right? Like it's a vibe. It's a very different vibe.
In our company, that's the thing that we have always wanted to do is, like we said it earlier, do cool shit with people that you enjoy doing it with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's when we talk about sustainability, not the right word. I really do think the last episode of Next and what we're going to be doing within the Next program is how do we keep this up?
Think about where I think most people come from, which is if you were to dissect what's actually happening. It's different than what they would say. But what's actually happening is I'm going to make just enough to stay under the radar. I'm going to make just enough to keep going, to survive. That's really where most people are at. And their mind, even their subconscious programming is like geared towards that, right? Like keep you in this place. When in reality, I think when you start to shift that, you shift into a place that is increase-minded, opulence-minded, abundance-minded.
Yeah.
And those terms get thrown around, but when you really think about it, like that's what we all want. If your business grows, like Vita used to have 3 employees, and it has 15 now. That is 12 more people that get to feed their families because of our business that has grown.
Right.
And get the training that I can bring to the table, that Devin can bring to the table, certain wisdoms and advice and everything else that maybe they wouldn't get from another person. I think about this all the time as a practitioner, that I want a thriving practice. Why? Because I know what I can bring to the table for patients, and I've seen sometimes what happens when they go to the wrong place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to be the person that I have patients say this all the time. I wish I'd found you sooner. Then I wouldn't have this or this or this.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, my job, my duty, my obligation is to be bigger. It is to take on more responsibility. It is to thrive so that you don't have to go through that. Other people don't have to do that. That's one of the best pieces of this, of saying next.
It's also a facet of leadership that people don't consider, right? Because when people lead from that place, it gives other people permission to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different kind of leadership.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't know that thing was possible, or I want that too. And before we started the podcast, I was telling you that when we did a Thrive Live, right? When we did a Thrive Live, we went out to a beautiful restaurant. And we had Dr. Ray Ribbich there.
Yeah,
and
Ray's such a good guy.
And he likes food, and he's like a foodie. Like he likes to
100%.
go, right? Like he likes to go to
likes to
Michelin star
spy.
restaurants, and
Yep.
you know, like it's the experience, it's the storytelling of it, it's the artistry of it. Like he likes that.
Which he wants for his practice.
Yes.
That was I want a 5-star experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we went out to dinner, he ordered 2 main meals.
Yeah.
And I love that because it was such this moment of, but Ray is extra.
Yeah.
Ray.
And even the permission piece was funny. Remember what he said to you?
No.
He kind of came up and he goes, I'm going to order 2 main meals. That okay? It was kind of like, I'm going to do it. Are you guys okay with that? But it was for the experience. He's like, I'm here once. Like, let's double down.
But I love
Literally.
that. Right. I love that because that is so on brand.
Yes.
For Dr.
And
Ray
we're like,
Rivage,
yes,
who is
get it.
extra in all of the different ways.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that makes him incredibly magnetic.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Maybe I want to do that too. And so it is a different facet of leadership. It's a different facet of thriving. It's a different facet of sustainability, is giving other people permission to be extra, to push boundaries, to explore potential, to level up themselves. People who hadn't considered it get to watch you lead by example.
And actually, as we bring up Ray, hopefully Ray's listening. You get to hear all about how much we love you. Another facet of Ray, Thrive Live 2023. He unfortunately was not able to make it out, but he had bought a ticket, was all set to go. And instead of asking for a refund, which we absolutely would have given him, he said, go give it to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we ended up saying, we're going to give it to somebody else and we're going to double down on yours. And so we actually gave 2 seats because of his. That is what happens when you take this mentality, right? When you say next and you grow in your capacity and responsibility, Ray is now in a place where he can do that. And, if you're fresh out of school, you're like, every dollar matters. Like, I got to take what I can do. And we were all there.
Right.
But you don't want to stay there. You want to get to a place where you can reach down and you can help somebody else up. And that's the kind of person that he is. So many clients, we're working with a number of them right now, that's what they say. They're like, I want to be able to pass this on. What I've been able to build and achieve, I'm humbly grateful. And we're thriving. Who else can we help?
Yeah.
Who else needs this? That's the mentality. It's a pass it forward, right? Kind of mentality. Next is an invitation to people to say, are you ready for that kind of life?
Yes. And I think after, these 6 parts, you either know this is you and if you don't know that it's you, then spoiler, it's not.
Yeah, it may be that you got some other things to handle.
That's exactly it. So there's not, no feelings of shame around that. It just, for the people who this is it and the time is now, those people know.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think what I want people to take away from this more than anything is now you kind of have an understanding of what we're going to be teaching. Mm-hmm. You have an understanding of there are other people.
My earring fell out.
You know what? It was like there's so much weight to me right now.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
I don't even know where it went. Oh, okay.
It was saying, where's my next? Where's the next year? With next, you have the ability now to visualize something, have the permission to visualize something that perhaps up till now you kind of thought was a dream.
Yeah.
And I think with dreams, what we tend to do is we don't say like, it'll never happen. What we do is we apply a reasonable time to it. In about 3 to 5 years, once things have calmed down and I've got enough in my 401k and I'm a little bit better at this and I'm a little bit better at that, and maybe I've learned a couple more things, then I can focus on this thing. Then I will be at a place where that can happen. And it's almost always incorrect to think that way.
Well,
almost always.
Month 6, I would like the people within Next to be very unreasonable people.
Yeah, because that's actually what the world needs.
Yeah, I would like them to be
more unreasonable people in this type of context.
Exactly. Right. Yes.
There's lots of unreasonable people, but we mean it in the way that we mean it, which is be extra. Right? Wear this.
Be extra.
Wear whatever this is.
Wear your chicken suit on your podcast.
Yes.
Right? Order 2 meals.
Order 2 meals.
Right? Hire a house manager if you feel like that's your next level.
Yeah.
Right?
Go aim for the cover of something. Go teach at one of the most prestigious centers. If your talent is there, then the network is there. The ability to do it is there, and we can help you do that.
Absolutely.
And that is actually what we want to do. I think part of this program to me, and we talked about this earlier, it is all of the things. It is private coaching, group coaching, and the community that comes from that, which I'll be honest, I'm not a massive community guy. I like to build and I like to do my thing, and I get very laser focused and then I go do it. But the older I get, I also recognize the value in having like minds, even though we're building this, like minds built this, right? And put this together. Like minds built this program. I know there's things that I can't do on my own, and a community exposes you to people who think differently. And that's what you're going to need to get to a new level.
Absolutely. Well, you say that you're not a community guy, but I think you say you're not a community guy when the community sucks. Right?
Maybe that's what it is.
So when we've been a part of lame communities, you're like, I'm definitely not doing a community again.
Oh, yeah. I hate those. When it's like group threads where you're like, I don't want to do any of this.
Right. But I will say when you've been a part of a community, I mean, that's where we found some of our closest friends.
Yeah, that's true.
In community.
That's a very good point.
Right. We found some of our closest friends in groups where we're like, you get it. You're doing the same thing. You're building, like we're building in tandem.
It's a phenomenal caveat. If I'm with people who I really respect and admire and I see as like leveling up, that's the mentality that they have. Because I think that's part of it too, is if you're in a community where people aren't leveling up, you're going to feel like you're getting taken from. And that's what I feel like. When I'm in those, it's like people are sucking it out of me. And I don't like being in that, right? I didn't come to do that. I came to be poured into and to go build something special. So this is curated a very different way. So you get that private coaching, which is awesome. Now you get access to us. You're going to get that group coaching and group community. You get a live experience. You want to talk about that a little bit? I think that's really cool.
That is really cool.
It's really cool.
So the next doctors are going to be going out to Vita.
Yes.
They are going to be seeing you do your thing clinically. Mm-hmm. So if there is stuff that you're like, not even because you necessarily need it, but you just want to see how are you talking to patients? How are you treatment planning? How are you presenting cases? What is your team interaction like, right? They're going to see all of that.
When you're at that level, actually, when you're really good at something, I think you actually value it more when you go to somebody else who does it well.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can kind of cut through all the bullshit and the noise. It's like I don't need to know all those like little weird particulars. You start to watch not what a person's doing, but how they're doing it.
Yes.
And there's so much more value when you get to that. It's a level down, right? Superficially, you're like, what's occlusion? What marks are you grinding away? Like, I don't understand, right? Once you've got that basis, you might find a pearl or two there, but the big thing is now, like, how are you talking to that person? And when did you not say something? And what questions are you leading with? And why are you different with this person than that person? And when did you have a person come in? And why did you send one of your team members out? Like, you're seeing stuff like that, and you're seeing this play in motion. There's so much value in that.
Absolutely.
And that's what you get to see.
Absolutely. It reminds me of when we first started working with David, right? When it was like day one, I was there. I was just like at the microphone crying and asking my questions. Like I wasn't paying attention to him. After I had been coaching for a while, I would watch what is like even the intonation in his voice.
Yeah.
Right? When does he say
body
something?
posture.
Exactly. When does he say something? When does he bring the hammer down on somebody? When does he not? Mm-hmm. How does he change his voice? How is he speeding up his cadence? Like all of these things, I started to watch it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is right. When you watch somebody do something, you can really start to see the nuance and then your mind is blown. And
there's intention behind every last bit of it. I think we kind of look at that when you're at the superficial level as like it's just chaotic like it's random, right? Whatever they're doing, that there's no intention behind it. And as you start to watch it more, you really see there's actually reason and purpose behind all that a person does who's masterful at that. So yes, the day one is really an observation day where you really get to see Vita in action. But day two is almost more like, I know there's really cool like grit to it. We're kind of calling it the hustle house for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah, you and I in our conversations we call it the hustle house because that's the intention is that we're getting together as a group and we're moving the needle, making shit happen, digging into your business, your next level, your obstacles, seeing the opportunities, getting a game plan together, and like going out and doing the damn thing. Yeah,
it's what people would call a mastermind, but in like a very focused, intentional, one day, let's go. And everyone gets to move the needle very quickly. There's even a hands-on portion component to this where I'm basically duplicating one of the cases that I'm working on that day. So if you care for it, people can actually do some of that too on the day that they're observing. There's a clinical portion. So if full arch dentistry is something that you're wanting to do, I do a lot of that, and there'll be a case that way. So if that's something that kind of teases you a little bit and you're vibing it, that's a portion of it. Second day, obviously, is just full-fledged, hands-on, moving the needle, answering all the questions from the day before.
I will not be there on the Vita day.
Correct.
But I am there for Hustle House day.
You're there for you're bringing the hustle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then we celebrate. We have food, and we have all the things like great restaurants. It's just a grand old time. Dylan's going to be there, so it's just going to be a freaking blast.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to learn photography too. All of a setup. So there's a lot of like clinical pearls that way too. I don't want to escape from that. This is still a clinical thing as well, but it's not with the intention of that. That's not the primary purpose of Next. It's just that it's one of those freebies. It's one of those additional things that you get for being in this.
And because these are people who already have this established at some point, it really is the nuance and the refinement of what they're already doing well, which is Next.
Yep.
Right. It is
next level.
Where can I take it up a notch?
Yep.
But it's not like, hey, I don't know how to do any of this. Teach me from ground zero. That's not what we're going to be doing.
Private coaching, group coaching, community, in-person, live event. Then you also have a course that comes with based upon where a person's at. So really there's 2 courses, master classes that will be offered based upon where you're at in your trajectory. So like I said, one of my demands is that you're either a fee-for-service doc or you're going that direction. If you are a fee-for-service doc, you're already there. Great. The course that you will be able to jump into is Credo. And it's our sales and conversion course. If you already have that, you actually own both of them, and you're like, I'm ready for something else, talk to us. We'll definitely we'll figure out something else for you, and we'll make it fun. But it's usually between those 2 courses. If you aren't fee for service yet, you're going to start there. And you're going to go through that course, which is essential on how to exactly extract insurance from your practice and do so in such a way that it doesn't hurt your practice, but it actually grows your practice.
Absolutely.
And so you're getting that. And then there's a whole bunch of cool freaking freebies that come with. But one of the favorite ones, which docs across the board have always just loved, is a little swag, a little style. We have custom designed some badass low dunk Nikes that are Thrive originals that you get to pick from. We have 3 different styles. You get to choose that. It's just fun. It's just fun. And actually, I had a doc just recently, 2 days ago, reach out, wants to join Next, and said that their biggest pull was the Nikes.
I love that. Well, we started doing it because we like it and it's super fun.
Yeah.
But the people love it. So we've kept it as like part of what we do. It's just
part of what we do.
It's such a vibe now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
So any questions, feel free to reach out to us. DM, we will leave links down below so that you can connect with us if you have any questions. But we are really excited for the people who know this is their next. Yeah. And you know who you are. So don't think too hard about this one, guys. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. You get to a level where it's more about taking an action in confidence, knowing that you can bet on yourself and you can bet on the team that's surrounding you. And if you can bet on those 2 things, you'll be just fine. In fact, you'll go far further, much further. We don't know. Warmness. Well, I was like, what is that word I made up earlier? You'll be warmness, yes. You will go so much further than you ever thought you were capable of going. And most likely, whatever you chose as your next, you'll probably tackle a few more of your nexts during this because it's that powerful. So. Absolutely. And I'm so excited. My favorite thing in the world is a front row seat into what our doctors create. I think it's absolutely extraordinary. And these become some of our best friends. These are the kind of docs that we spend time with. So we're excited to meet you. We are excited and we're excited to get to work on your vision with you. So we'll see you again soon. We'll see you next. Thank you for listening and or watching the Dental and Mental podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or any others for that matter, feel free to tap that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, as well as Spotify. While you're there, why not leave us a review, up to 5 stars. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what topic you want us to discuss next. If you like what you heard today and you want to be involved in the Thrive world from coaching to courses or just to connect with us, go to thethrivedentist.com.